Hey guys, Steven here with ProTech. I want to talk a little bit about preparedness and responding to this coronavirus quarantine that our generation, my generation especially, and I believe my parents' generation haven't really had to deal much with this concept in our country, and it's causing a lot of just panic in areas that haven't even been exposed to it yet. A lot of last minute preparedness, and a lot of, I guess, the folks that want to go buy the perishable things like milk and bread, those things are non existent. So I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time talking about that, but think about in this moment, now is not really the time to go buy. I mean, everybody's rushing out to buy all the guns and ammo and all the survival supplies and all this stuff. Yeah, if you've got a credit card that you don't mind maxing out, and weathering the traffic and the turmoil and the ever increasing anxiousness of society and risking potentially getting in a wreck or an altercation, by all means, go out to your local gun shops and buy everything you can. But thinking more logically, take this time to make a list of the things that you want to eventually have on tap, so that when you get in the next situation like this, you won't have to panic buy. You've already got your AR. You've already got your long-range hiking kit. You've already got your water purification. You've already got your dried food stores. And when I say dried food, I'm not saying go buy the $10 meal kits that have a 25-year shelf life. Buy stuff that's practical. I remember when a big hurricane was coming in to hit my family and I down in South Carolina. This was one of the few times I've panic buyed. I'm guilty of it. We all are. I went to Sam's Club and I bought the big bag of beans and a big bag of rice. And guess what? Those pallets were full. People hadn't thought that far ahead yet. All the bread and all the milk was gone, but the beans and the rice were there. And beans and rice are dried food that store for a really long time, as long as you keep them sealed up and airtight. And then I went and bought some nice 5-gallon buckets with sealing lids, and there I've got food for my family for probably 2 months, complete protein. And it's lightweight. If we had to, we could carry some of it with us. We could definitely put it in the truck. All 4 buckets of it, and take it with us. Things like that. And things like that are I can just about guarantee you still available in the stores right now. People don't think ahead. Our society is super dependent, by and large, on the system. And when the system says, hey, there's a problem, our society freaks out and goes and buys all of the stuff that they normally buy from the system. The milk and the bread, and the bottled water and the hand sanitizer because it's fast. You can go right around the corner and find hand soap on the shelf. And if you can't find hand soap, you can make your own. You can buy a gallon of bleach and, mix it with water and clean your hands with that. You can buy bar soap, throw a little bleach in there with it, and make your own soap mixture to disinfect. You can buy household cleaners. A lot of them you can rub on your hands and they'll kill bacteria, Think outside the box. And a lot of times we don't think about, oh, I need this supply or I need this thing when times are good. And even if we do, we're like, well, I need that, but I can't afford it because I got to pay this bill first. Once I get this bill paid off, then I'll think about that. But then it never happens because another bill comes. So then we either panic buy right at the end and max out a credit card again, or we just say, you know what, I'm going to take baby steps and prepare. So when this thing all, subsides and starts to decrease, and society gets back to normal, which I hope it does. And this one might last for a while. This one's at least going to last 30 days, if not more, depending on how fast this upper respiratory virus spreads. And but once things start to slow down and normalize, start making those purchases so that you can be prepared the next time it comes. I'm prepared. My family's prepared. We have the essentials. We don't hoard. We don't have 800 million rolls of toilet paper, which that's one thing really quick. Corona isn't a diarrhea virus. I don't understand why people are buying a year's supply of toilet paper thinking they're going to, crap their brains out over the next 2 months. You just need a month or two's worth of toilet paper, and if I had a roll here handy, I'd show you a trick. Just take 3 pieces out, fold them over like a tri-fold wallet. That's plenty of toilet paper. Well, if you're using the good stuff. Now, I use the Charmin, the soft stuff that's, got decent thickness to it. It's not like that paper thin stuff you find in a Walmart bathroom. I don't shop at Walmart anymore anyways because they're anti-gun. At least my local one is. But think about that. How do I use less of what I have? I can take my toilet paper, tri-fold it. I can wipe. Now, all right, here we go. You can fold it after you wipe. Just be careful you don't have your thumbs in there when you fold it. Now, guess what? You can wipe again. And if it's not super sloppy, you can fold and you can wipe a third time. There have been times where I have made it through a session with 3 squares of toilet paper. I can make a roll of toilet paper just for myself last over a month, just for one person. So if you put your family on that structure, you can make your toilet paper last longer. Soap, instead of using a full pump, use a half a pump or a third of a pump. Soap isn't so much quantity as it is contact length. You want to rub for 20 or more seconds before you rinse it off your hands. The reason why soap doesn't work for some people is because they pump it out, they go like this, and they rinse it right off their hands. Also, keep your brain on a leash. Remember, the ultimate weapon is your mind, is this right here. Everything else is supplemental. Your food, your weapons, your medicine, your survival stuff, that's all supplemental. Your backup power sources, it's all supplemental. Guys, stay safe out there. Keep your brain on a leash, like I said. Don't panic. Don't be like the majority of our society right now and panic, okay? Keep your gas tank topped off. Don't hoard gas, Just enjoy your family. Think about, okay, what can we do here in the house? What are some projects that we've been needing to get done? Haven't put the freaking baseboards in the hallway for over a year because we're all over the place. Now that all the kids' practices are canceled and school is canceled and this is canceled and that's canceled, and your spring break's canceled, think about what projects can I do around the house that I've been wanting to do, and take the time to do those. I bet the paint store has plenty of paint on the shelves right now, and you've been wanting to paint the bedrooms. Go buy some paint, paint your bedrooms, plus it'll occupy your time. If you can occupy your time with projects, you won't freak out as much. Also, try to limit your exposure to mainstream media. If it's a big enough event, you will hear about it. Your friends, your family will tell you about it, or you will see it in the headlines. If you watch too much mainstream media, and I'm not saying don't watch mainstream media at all, but if you watch too much, you can become indoctrinated by it. You can become kind of tunnel visioned by it, and it can induce panic. So I hope some of these tips and principles help you, and I hope that you can apply some of them to your life, and I hope that the next time around you're more prepared. As I can say being prepared brings a rather comforting sense of peace, and that preparation isn't just things. It's even more so mental. I can survive with what I've got on my body right now for a pretty long time. You know, if I've got that pack behind me and I've got, you know, those tools behind me, I can survive for a really long time, I think. You know, why? Because I've gone on survival courses. I've done a lot of firearms training. I've done emergency, you know, field first aid. You know, I know how to stop massive blood loss. You know, I know how to do what I consider to be life essential tasks in a crap hit the fan scenario. You know, if all of this burns down or all of this gets stolen or whatever, I'm going to be okay because I have this. You know, and if I lose this, then I'm going to heaven anyways. You know, and there also is peace with that. You know, whether you're right with God or not. You know, and it doesn't have anything to do with going to church. You know, it has to do with a relationship between you and Him. You know, is He living in your heart? You know, and having that peace and that security, and that guidance brings a lot of comfort too. You know, I know that while I'm here, I'm going to do the absolute best I can, and I'm going to help as many people as I can help. You know, and I'm going to protect, you know, myself and my kids. You know, I'm going to do the essential things that need to be done to preserve life and encourage those around me, and that's all we can do. You know, I'm not saying go out and try to save the world, because none of us can do that alone. But you know, together we can impact our communities. We can network. We can get to know our neighbors. We can support one another neighbor-wise in difficult times, like what we could potentially experience over the next 30 plus days, and take it seriously. When the big agencies, you know, the disease control agencies and what have you, and doctors and you know, other countries are saying, hey, this is really bad, you know, don't take it too lightly. Don't joke about it, you know. Don't play it off and go out to this, you know, big thing anyways, or go on that trip, you know, and get on a petri dish on the water or in the air, you know, in times like these where something that is highly contagious could be in that environment when you don't have to. Now, if you have to do it, it's a different story. But think about it. If you don't have to do it and there's a risk, why do it? You know, just like when you're walking down the sidewalk. You know, say it's nighttime, you're walking down the sidewalk in Chicago, you know, in a rougher neck of the woods, you know, and your car's on the other side of the block. You can either walk down the dark alley or you can walk around the block, you know, where it's well lit and there's other cars driving by. You know, I'd rather walk around the block, even though I've got lots of training and equipment and the ability to protect myself. Don't be cocky. There's no need to be cocky. You know, be wise, be smart. You know, avoidance, de-escalation, deterrence. If I can avoid it, I'll avoid it. If I can de-escalate it, you know, the potential of it happening, I'll de-escalate it. But if I need to deter it, then we'll deter it with as much ferocity as possible. You know, so really live on that first one a lot, and that second one, you know, when you have to, and know how to do that third one really well, but hope that you never have to go there too often. So, guys, stay safe out there, and we'll see you on the other side of this thing. And for those of you that have holsters on order, we're working on them as fast as possible. Part of the reason why I did this video is because we've been getting contacted a decent amount, especially by our local patrons, you know, asking questions, what do I do, you know, and this is kind of a video answer to all of them. So now I can send them a link to this instead of having to have this conversation 50 times in the next week. So, but guys, take care. We'll see you next time.